Hi, so I'm going to do Machshevet a little bit differently. This is also a review for the Bagrut, but also teaching it because I don't have a lot of time to teach, and therefore we're going to do it this way. It's called asynchronous, where you listen online, you take notes, and you're good to go. The first thing we're going to do is something that we actually did cover in class, and this is the beginning of the Yud Gimel Ikarei Emunah, the Rambam. The Rambam took all Jewish faith and tried to put it into 13 ikarim, 13 principles. Somebody else came, not exactly sure who, and created out of this the 13 animamins. That are printed in Sidurim. In many cases, one that we know is number 12, animamin b'amunah shalem b'viat HaMashiach. And that just tried to make it into bite-sized pieces. And that's what we're going to go ahead and be working with are these animamas. So this already we did do in class. The first three animamas. We're going to do it quickly here as well. The first animamin is the idea that God created the world and that nothing in the world can exist without a Kadosh Baruch Hu. There's nothing that preceded a Kadosh Baruch Hu. There's nothing that pre-existed God. That everything in the world was created by God, and we say it in Adon Olam, what it means Adon Olam, the master of the world, Hashem Malach, that you were the king, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, before Terem means before anything else was created, and as a result, we say in our davening, Chadish B'tzuvo B'chayon Tzibim Masev Reshet, which means that God is the constant creator, that nothing can continue to exist in this world without the ever presence of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, because there's nothing that exists on its own, whether it be the sky, the sun, the moon, human beings, or anything else, without the presence of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's Ikar number one. Ikar number two is the idea of God being one. What does it mean to God being one? That God is unique. We say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Doesn't mean that there's only one God and we don't believe in all sorts of idols or whatever. It means that we understand that God is unique, that is not a human being. Very often we go ahead and we describe God in human characteristics, that's just for our own to be able to put it into context for us. But God is totally unique. And Noach made a mistake with this. Noach, when he did not want to go into the Teva originally, he waited. The Gemara says, actually Rashi quotes it, that Noach was mikatznej emunah. They didn't have all that faith. What was wrong with Noach's faith? It was that he did not understand that Kadosh Baruch Hu is being unique. In his perception, I'm reading from over here, the answer to this question of faltering faith lies in the fact that the sages were calling our attention to a flaw in Noach's appreciation of the unity, I'm going to call it the uniqueness of God. Actually, he never doubted that Almighty could destroy the world, never doubted the word of God. Yet, because there existed an imperfectionist perception of God's oneness, Noach trusted that the mercy of the Creator will overwhelm his trait of justice. In other words, he sort of like viewed God as a person. And the person, like when you go to your parents, you might say, oh, even though they don't want you to do something, but if I plead with them, they'll change their mind. Sometimes we have different feelings within us, and it's a matter whether our midat rachamim, our mercy will get the better of us, or God forbid, our anger will get the better of us. But Kadosh Baruch Hu is unique. He's not a human being. He doesn't work in the same way as a human being. And that's what number two means. That Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, that Kadosh Baruch Hu is totally unique. Number three is the idea that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, same sort of idea, HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not have a human body. This is the Rambam's understanding that God doesn't have arms or legs or a head or anything like that. Again, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not a human being. And now this is really very important, the Rambam's conception. And again, this is the Rambam. Not everybody necessarily agrees with the Rambam. Because this idea, as you see in the bottom paragraph, it is necessary to understand and be aware of God's incorporeality. Because if God occupied space, man could be free of him. In other words, if God has arms, legs, that means God is living someplace. And if he's living in one place, that means he's not in another place. We have the idea of Milo Chol Haaretz K'Baza, that the glory of God encompasses the entire universe, and it cannot be put in one particular place. We mentioned that the prophet Yonah made this mistake. Who in Tanakh did not get this concept? Whereas Yonah, at least according to some, was trying to escape God's world. He felt, okay, then in Eretz Yisrael, he had Nevuah. All he had to do is leave Eretz Yisrael, and then he could escape this responsibility of going to Nineveh. And so that is the Rambam's conception of God, that ein lo demut haguf ve'eino guf. Doesn't have the demut of a guf, doesn't have the shape of a guf, ve'eino guf, and he's not a guf, he's not a human being, he doesn't have a human body. Okay, so we'll stop here with the first tape, make them nice and short. Enjoy.